And we are live. It is the Halloween Extravaganza here at Mystery and Thriller Ravens, and I am so excited to welcome back the incredible New York Times bestselling author Lisa Unger here to give us the inside scoop at this very special pre-launch event on her 20th book, Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six. Lisa, welcome back to Mystery and Thriller Ravens. Tell us about this book.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me back. It's always a joy and a pleasure to talk to you and to everybody. So thanks so much. So yeah, Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six is my 20th novel, which is kind of a crazy thing to say. It feels like a kind of a crazy big number, especially since, I've been writing since I was a kid and I never wanted to do anything else. So I feel very blessed and grateful to be doing it. And I will say that, number 20, when it arrives in the mail and it's bound like this and it's got this like bumpy, shiny cover, like it never stops feeling amazing. It never stops feeling like a dream come true.
Oh, I love that. So even 20 books in, it still feels like a dream, still feels like a dream come true. Erin says she cheers wildly.
Hi, Erin.
Yay. Well,
So when when we open the cover of Secluded Cabin Sleep Six, we meet Hannah. Hannah was one of the early voices that led me into the book, and she and her brother Mako, their spouses, their family friend Cricket, and her mysterious new boyfriend are all headed out to a secluded cabin, a luxury cabin deep in the woods for some much needed R&R, a disconnect from the busy modern life that we all need. But they're hauling with them a ton of baggage, in the form of secrets and lies. And outside the house, in the dark and the shadows, is a stranger. And the stranger is running a dark agenda of revenge. And there's a storm brewing, and naturally, cell phone service is spotty. And what could go wrong, really?
what?
He's gonna be fine.
What could go wrong indeed? Well, you never want to ask Lisa Unger that question. You never want to ask Lisa Unger that question. Oh my gosh. Well, Lisa, I'm so excited to chat with you about all things Secluded Cabin because we got a lot to talk about and I want to make sure we get to all of your questions. We're going to dive right in. But first, I just want to welcome everyone. So we're going live to 7 destinations today for our Halloween extravaganza. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're all the places. So no matter where you're watching from, welcome, friends. We're united in our love of mysteries and thrillers. And I've got a day of prizes and surprises for you. So stay tuned for the giveaway. We will be doing that and more on that later. And if you've been here before, you know how it works. If you're new, we're so happy to have you. Here's how it works every Monday for hashtag Mystery Monday. I give you my handpicked featured authors and you get to ask them anything. So ask this incredible New York Times bestselling author about her 20th book, about her yoga practice, how that infuses her writing, all the things. Let's get it going. Lynn, welcome to the conversation, saying hi, Sara and Lisa. Susan saying, I can't wait to buy and read. Susan, you must be reading my mind because this is a very special pre-launch event and I am sharing the pre-order link. And guess what, y'all? We got signed copies. You know what's more special than a signed copy? Nothing. So pre-order now. A treat for yourself. No tricks here today. A treat for yourself. Holiday shopping. Get it done early. They make the best gifts. Signed books make the best gifts. Andrea, welcome to the conversation, saying congratulations on your 20th book, baby.
Thanks, Andrea.
Susan wants to know, is alcohol involved in this getaway weekend? Or what could possibly go wrong?
Of course.
Alcohol, maybe some edibles.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of substances involved in Secluded Cabin Sleep Six.
All sorts of substances and secrets, we might say. Mm-hmm. I love that. Darla says, hello, Sara and Lisa. So excited to watch this interview. Darla, we're so excited to have you. We have a mystery user saying, this is one of my most anticipated reads. Heck, yes, it is. I like you already. Nancy Muro Wren, Books of Grammar Extraordinaire. She's Cabin Girl reads. So this is perfect for you, Nancy.
Perfect for her. Yeah. Awesome.
She says hello from
Or not,
California. Let's hope we don't have to step over any dead bodies on our way to your cabin. Cabin Girl reads. Nancy, welcome to the conversation. So great to see you pop up. We're talking substances and secrets here. Julie, welcome to the conversation. She wants to know, Lisa, how did you come up with this very intriguing title?
Honestly, I wish that I could take credit for this title. I cannot. My original title for this book was Blow Your House Down. That was my title for the book. And, and this happens a lot with titles. So usually if I have a title, and I absolutely love it, then it will not be the title of the book. If I have a title for my book and I kind of don't like it that much, then it will be the title of the book. Like that's pretty much how it works for me. So in this case, Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six was the work of the team at Park Row. Margaret and Erica, the VP and editorial director, they brainstormed and came up with this amazing title, and I just fell in love with it. So a lot of times it takes a village.
So, Lisa, your original title was Blow Your House Down.
Mhm.
And then did they say to you, this isn't going to work for us? Here's 3 options for you. Here's 5 options for you. Did you brainstorm together, or they just said, this is it? And you said, okay.
Oh no, usually what happens is you turn the book in and it has a title. Most of the time I have a title when I turn a book in. I rarely turn in something that says, untitled, right? So I have a title, and I can always kind of tell. I made this joke with my editor last round of revisions. I was like, I could tell when you write me back about the book and you don't use the title that that there's going to be a title conversation. So usually what happens is that, she will say, I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe it's working, maybe it's not working. And then I'll come up with a new list of titles, and then they'll come up with a new list of titles. And then it's kind of like this long email exchange. Usually my agent is also involved, and it's back and forth until somebody comes up with a title that everybody kind of goes, oh yeah, that's it. So that's kind of how it usually works.
I find it interesting that if you love a title, you usually don't get to keep it. But if you don't love it,
Yeah.
then you
Like, for example, Beautiful Lies. That was my title. I did not love that title. I was like, I'm sure this is going to change. I was not in love with it. And so so of course it remained the title of the book.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Julie, thank you for the great question. Because I was wondering about the title too, because it sounds like an Airbnb listing, right? Like, oh, Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six, in the woods, private chef, hot tub included. um, so I love that, and it's so fascinating to know that your editor's the one that came up with it. Alyssa, welcome to the conversation. She said, "This is my first event with y'all. The book sounds amazing. I can't wait to read." Alyssa, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for joining us today, live with Lisa Unger. Let us know if you have any questions for her. We're very interactive here. Chelsea, welcome to the conversation. Hello, everyone. Nancy is laughing out loud about the title, about getting stuck with it. So funny to know these things.
I know. It's funny because, it really does turn out to be, if you have a publisher that you love and you trust, and an editor that you trust, and that everybody wants everything about the book to be the best that it can be, then you just kind of, you have to trust in that collaboration. I think people would be surprised at how much collaboration there is.
I love that. Thank you for answering that. Julie is saying she loves it too. Andrea wants to know, Lisa, would you be willing to go sleep in a secluded cabin in the woods now, or would you scare yourself and not be able to sleep? Great question. Great question, Andrea.
It is a really good question. And the funny thing is okay, so I'll just use this as a jumping off point to talk a little bit about the inspiration for the book. So for most of my books, there's like a germ or a seed, like something that I'm really obsessed about, something that I'm doing a lot of research on. And, and the best way I can explain it is that if it connects with something kind of deeper that's going on with me, I'm going to start to hear a voice or voices. And these are the voices that I follow through the manuscript. So, and usually it's just one thing, but in the case of Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six, it was actually a couple things. I had an ongoing kind of fascination with DNA testing. I've been doing, research about this for a couple of years now.
Ooh.
And I've been, really curious about this technology and how it's being used. And it's been something, much in the same way that, in Last Girl Ghosted, I was really interested in online dating, and Confessions in the 745, it
Yes.
was more about social media. And it's not so much the technologies that interest me, it's how they rewrite the way we relate to each other. And so that was a really
Ooh.
big feature of the DNA testing for me and wanting to know more about it. And the other source of inspiration for this book was that my family and I took a number of pandemic vacations to, really secluded cabins in the woods, which is something that we had not done. We're not really campers, but this was like, where we weren't able to travel. And so we would just get in the car and we would rent these places and drive to the woods and go hiking. And they were beautiful, gorgeous places, beautifully appointed, everything that you would want. And yet, I am just, I am just that's just the way my brain works. I mean, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always like the person who's looking for the exits. I'm always asking myself questions like, hey, that lock code on the door, did everybody get that same code, or does it change for everybody?
Right.
Like, and it's like, wow, it's really dark, like like really dark. Um how long would it take us precisely to get to the next house? Like, this is the way my brain works, right? So it's kind of the opposite. So that's like the long answer, right? Like it's kind of the opposite of that. Like I don't, it's not like I've scared myself so much that I can never go to a secluded cabin. It's that I was already so scared that I had to write about it in order to in order to metabolize it. So like I kind of that's where I exercise my demons on the page. So I'm actually a lot more likely to go stay at a secluded cabin now than I than I was. And in fact, we evacuated for the storm a couple of weeks ago, and we evacuated to one of those cabins in the woods that inspired the book. And we used it as an opportunity to take some video. So we're fully ensconced now in the whole cabin idea, in spite of, or maybe because of, the fact that I wrote Secluded Cabin Sleep Six.
Oh my gosh. Andrea, thank you for that fabulous question, which led us to this juicy revelation about the origin of this story idea. Wow. Lisa, thank you for the fabulous answer. Ethan, welcome to the conversation. Hello, Lisa. I can't wait to meet you in person at Murder by the Book. So, Lisa, for those of us who are those who are watching who are in Houston, Texas, you're going to be at the bookstore. Tell us about that.
I am. So I'm super excited to be visiting Murder by the Book, which I have not been to in years and years. My parents used to live in Houston, and so I used to go every year to Murder by the Book. My parents moved, and then, there's been a pandemic and all this stuff, and there hasn't been that much travel. So I'm very excited to be back in Houston I'm going to try to get the date right. I'm going to try to say that it's Wednesday, November 9th. At 6:30, Murder by the Book in Houston. And if you're in Houston and you've never been to Murder by the Book, which I'm sure that's not even possible if you're a mystery reader and you live in Houston, but it is one of my favorite stores in the country. It's absolutely beautiful, so well curated, so well run by people just super passionate about books, mysteries, thrillers, crime fiction. So it's definitely one of my favorite places in the country, and certainly one of the best stores in Houston.
And for those of us who aren't in Houston, I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. For those of us who aren't in Houston, guess what? We can still get signed books. So everybody, here is Lisa will be signing books, and Murder by the Book ships your signed book. So you can have a copy. You can buy a copy of Secluded Cabin Sleep Six signed by Lisa Unger herself. The perfect treat, Halloween treat, no tricks for you today. Or we're heading into holiday season. We are not that far out from Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah. We just had Diwali. We got New Year's.
Yes.
So the perfect gift for the mystery lover in your life, or the gift for yourself to replenish your energy while you're shopping for everybody else. Grab your signed copy. Your mother-in-law, your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend from college, they all need a copy of this book. So click and order. And Lisa is signing books at her event. So fabulous. Ethan, thank you for the great comment. And Lisa will look forward to seeing you there. Lynn wants to know, okay, so then why the reference to the big bad wolf in your working title?
Wow. I mean, you're going to have to read it to find that out.
Is it related to the storm? Is it related?
It's more related to the relationship between the person who's out in the shadows and the people that are in the house.
Ooh.
So it's more about that relationship than it is about the actual house itself. But you definitely do need to read in order to pick up that reference. Yeah,
sure do. And you need to read your signed copy. In my humble opinion. Olga said you got here in time. Yay, Olga, we're so happy to have you. Susan wants to know where the idea of the book came from. So it was, you're going to these secluded cabins during the pandemic, and you started to what if?
And also the other part of that too is that one of those trips I took with my extended family. And I don't know if anybody's ever traveled with their extended family, but that can also be very inspirational. So just putting it out there. Yeah.
Were you feeling murderous, Lisa?
No, of course not.
Just me then.
It was just you, Sarah.
Just me. And I would be. Erin's saying, note to self, do not follow Lisa on vacation. I'm making a note to self, do not follow Lisa.
If you want to enjoy your vacation, do not take me with you. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Erin, you and I are standing there saying, oh, look at these beautiful, peaceful woods. Listen to the birds chirping. And Lisa says, what if somebody died here? Who could I kill?
The energy feels off.
Okay, Erin, you and I will go have a peaceful vacation. Lisa will be plotting a murder and worrying and leaning to the dark and energy over there. Chelsea says, what an interesting vacation idea. Totally. Oh, hey, Alan Nunnally saying, hi, Lisa. Congratulations on number 20. Yes, 20 books. That's so amazing. Julie saying 20 books is such a huge accomplishment. She wants to know, what is the most surprising thing you have learned since the first book? Great question.
That is a really good question. It's such an interesting journey. I guess when I first started my first novel when I was 19 years old. I've been writing since I was a kid. I just turned 52. So I've been writing a really long time, a really long time, right? And I guess one of the things that you might think is that, sitting down to write your 20th book might be a little bit easier than sitting down to write your first book. And in fact, it's really not. I feel like every book is a unique journey. And every time I sit down with, because the way I write, I don't have an outline. I don't know what's going to happen day to day. I don't know who's going to show up or what they're going to do. I basically sit down with a voice or the idea of a person, the essence of it, the essence of the story, maybe some sort of vision possibly of what the book will become or might become. And I kind of sit down with that every time and I start to write. And it's not to say that it's not easy or that it's hard, that's not really the truth of it or what I'm trying to say. It's just that every time is different. Every writing experience for me is different. I'm fully inside my story every single year. And it never, ever feels like, it doesn't feel, I don't want to use the word easier. It just doesn't feel like the same or different, if that makes any sense to anyone. So it's like every time I sit down, it's a completely unique ride. It's never like what came before it makes what comes next any more predictable. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not predictable.
That is so interesting.
Because you kind of think anything else you do, say you're building bookshelves or say you were making furniture, anything else you do kind of every time you built the same bookshelf, every time you would get better, it would become more like a rote thing. But for me, every single time I sit down, it's a new experience, and it doesn't get any easier. And I remember talking to my friend Ace Atkins about this. He's like, "Does it ever feel like it gets easier for you?" I was like, "Definitely not." And you know what? I don't want it to. I don't want to sit down and feel like I know what I'm doing. Really, I don't want to sit down and feel like I've got this, or I'm dialing it in, or I have a formula that I'm following. I'm just going to follow it every single time because that's what works for me. I don't ever want to not be super engaged in the work, and never, and I never want to be in a place where I'm not trying to get better than I was the last book. And I think if you're in that space, like you're writing from an authentic place and you're trying to get better every single time, and you're opening your sort of your heart and your intention to your story and wherever it's going to go and your characters, then it shouldn't ever get easier. And if it ever feels easier, maybe you're not working hard enough or trying hard enough.
Ooh, Lisa Unger dropping gems. I love that because you're staying authentic and vulnerable, and you're allowing space for yourself and challenging, inviting yourself to grow and get better.
Yes, I hope so. I hope that's always the place that I'm in with it. I don't ever want to sit down and be like, yeah, I got this. No big deal. Like, I just don't, I mean, you're not bringing enough of yourself to the page if that's how you're approaching it.
Oh, I love that, Lisa. I love that perspective. Julie, thank you for that great question, which led us to this beautiful, juicy revelation of an answer. And Lisa, thank you for the vulnerability to share that. Susan says, Lisa, you are having a dinner party for 6 in your secluded cabin. Who do you invite to save you?
Aaron knows the answer to this. Jones Cooper.
Okay.
My fictional detective who often shows up in books when I need things to. I have a few characters that show up when I need things to kind of, settle down, or somebody needs to take the reins of the situation that we're in. And if somebody was going to show up to save me, I'm hoping it would be Jones Cooper.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Susan, thank you for the great, super cool question. I love that. And Lisa, I love that you would pick your character. We have a mystery user saying, can't wait for this book. Thank you so much for joining us. Julie saying, this is all so fascinating. I totally agree. Susan wants to know, have you ever thought about writing sequels to any of your books? Yeah. What? I mean, there's so much juice. Confessions of the 745. I want to see more from those two random characters. I want to see more from all of these people.
Yeah, I mean, I have so the first four books that I wrote were all it was a series featuring a true crime writer by the name of Lydia Strong. So that was a series. And then the next 2 books featured Ridley Jones, and Sliver of Truth is a sequel to Beautiful Lies. And then, over time, there have been a number of stories set in my fictional town called The Hollows. And so that is, probably the closest I have to like kind of an ongoing series or an ongoing character. So basically when somebody stays with me, whether it's Jones Cooper or Eloise Montgomery or The Hollows, or, there's another detective who shows up now and again by the name of Grady Crow. There are these sort of characters that stay with me. And when they do, they generally do come forward into the next book. I've never actually just sat down to say, hey, I've got to write a sequel to this book. Everything always flows organically from character, where like in this kind of continuum that I'm in of like reading, researching, and writing. So usually it's like a character flows into the next book, and that determines whether there's going to be a sequel. But I've never like sat down to say, okay, I really, I'm going to write a sequel to X book. Like that is too intellectual decision. It has to kind of well up from some other place within.
Ooh, I like that you're so viscerally in the authentic evolution of that and able to trust the process that it's going to
Yeah.
come.
I mean, you kind of have to
Yeah.
be in that space. You have to, to write this many books, and to have all of them be different. You kind of do have to be in that space of like sort of knowing that the story is there. You have to find it. You're always going to find it. You're always going to get there. So that's just kind of I think like part of the faith of writing.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Part of the faith. Did it take you time to develop the the part of the faith of the writing, or were you able to do that from the age of 19?
I mean, to be honest, I just have never not been a writer. Like I've always, even like long before I started my first novel as a kid, I was writing. I was writing stories. I was a constant reader, and I just never thought of myself any other way. And there was never a time in my life where I wasn't telling stories.
Yes.
So, or having like ideas or thoughts or characters in my head, like there was never a time in my life where I haven't been like that. So, I mean, I think that it's inherent in some ways. It's some union of, faith, magic, and craft. My whole education, of course,
Ooh.
is focused on learning how to write. Every time I write a book, I feel like I've become a better writer. I can be better the next time I sit down again. So like just the honing of that craft over decades and all of it, I feel like all of it just kind of unifies into, like I was saying, like a continuum, reading, writing,
Yes.
researching, writing some more, reading some more. And
Mm.
it's just kind of it's part of who I am. It's part of my self narrative. So I feel like maybe I had faith before I knew that I did.
Ooh, Lisa, I love that. I love that because the faith is the trusting of something that you cannot see, touch, or you can't see or touch, but you know that it is there.
Right.
You feel it intrinsically. I love that. All right, y'all. This is Halloween and it is all treats and no tricks today. So you know what? Let's get to the treat. I'm going to buy the winner a signed copy from Murder by the Book of Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six. So hop over, join the Mavens group, and then comment on this video because I'm broadcasting live in my Mavens group where I also take requests for authors and do tons of giveaways. Comment with your favorite costume, your favorite Halloween costume that you've ever worn or seen, and you will be entered to win a signed copy of Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six. So everybody hop on over there. All treats, no tricks today. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody's comments because there are so many pouring in. Andrea wants to know, what's a book you've read recently that you recommend, Lisa?
I just finished. It's an early read, so everybody's going to have to wait, but you could always go pre-order it.
Yeah.
I just finished It's One of Us by J.T. Ellison. I think it's March 2023. And probably most people are familiar with JT. She is just a psychological thriller author at the very top of her game. And this is like twisty, layered, smart. It does share some themes with Secluded Cabin. So it was right up my alley. And she's just a stellar writer. So it was a fantastic read. So you could pre-order it from wherever you buy your books.
Yay. So I just got my early copy on Monday. I'm so excited. So everybody pre-order. I'm going to pop it in the link right now. Pre-order JT Ellison. And guess what? She's coming on Mavens the day before this book comes out to give us the inside scoop. So here's the link to the book to pre-order the book, and then be sure to join us in March when JT will give us the scoop on It's One of Us. JT is fabulous, and she's coming back. Yay. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, I'm going through. Mystery user saying, so excited for your book, Lisa. Can't wait for Secluded Cabin. We have Erin saying, Jones.
Erin knew I was
Sorry, Erin Jones.
She knew.
We have Grady Crow. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. We got Erin Jones. We got Grady Crow. We got someone else saying, I need to check this book out. It sounds amazing. Yes, you do. And join the Mavens group and enter to win your copy. Or you don't want to take the chance, go straight and order it here where we have you can pre-order your signed copy, and Lisa will sign it for you at her event on Wednesday. Susan wants to know, what authors do you like to read, Lisa?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard to answer that question because first of all, I'm the president of ITW, which
You
is
gotta pick.
or co-president of ITW with which is International Thriller Writers, co-president with my very good friend and actually one of the authors I love to read, Greg Hurwitz.
Greg Hurwitz.
One of the best people writing, I think, just great in every way. And, so of course it's hard for me to pick favorites, but, on the road, I'm going to be hanging out with Karen Slaughter this year. I'm going to be hanging out with Mary Kay Andrews. I love, Dennis Lehane. I just recently got to sit down with Alice Hoffman, who's an amazing writer. I just sat down with Wanda Morris, who's an amazing writer. So I just feel like the list is too long for me to name. But I will say that I feel like some of the best people writing today are writing crime fiction. Some of the best people are writing crime fiction, thrillers, and psychological suspense. And of course, there's some great names on my book. There's Ruth Ware, who's one of my favorites. Jilly McMillan, Heather Goodencup. I could not. Alfred Burke. Where do I? Sara DiVello. Where do I stop?
Oh my gosh, you are too kind. Well, I love all those people too. And everybody, we had Karen Slaughter on again a few weeks ago. We had Wanda on last Monday. We had Jilly on when her book came out earlier this summer. And you can catch up on all of those interviews. If you didn't catch them live the first time, here's the link to the Mavens Library where you can get the inside scoop from all of these authors and many more. You can catch Lisa Unger's favorite authors. So it's so great to know who your favorite are. Catherine saying she's so excited about your novel, Lisa. She can't wait to read Secluded Cabin Sleeps Six. Yay, you are going to love it, Catherine. She wants to know if you could go anywhere now that things are opened back up again for travel, where would you go?
Well, we actually have done a lot of traveling this year. We went to the Azores right after Thriller Fest, which was absolutely magical. It was like such a special place. They're the islands like just off the coast of Europe. They're sort of right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Just a really magical, special, beautiful place. So we went there this year. I recently had the opportunity to go to Scotland for Bloody Scotland, which was like just an amazing event. And my husband and I got to spend a little time traveling as well through Scotland. So those are two places that were really high on my list. And I am happy to say that, we're sort of back out there, on the road. So those are the places we went this year.
Yay. And Lisa posted a super spooky, because of course she's already confessed that when she goes to a beautiful place, she thinks spooky, scary thoughts. And she, of course, in the beautiful Azores, was she out surfing? No. Was she sunning on the beach? No. She found a deserted, creeptastic old hotel and then posted a video and was like, it feels like someone got murdered here.
I did. It was
scroll back through her Instagram in June, scroll back to the beginning of June, and it does indeed look pretty freaking scary there.
It was really scary and super, super interesting. So yeah, we'll find out. We'll see where that turns up somewhere, I'm sure.
Lisa is staying on brand, keep going to beautiful locations and then thinking scary
and then
thoughts.
Ruining them for everybody else.
Oh my God. I love it. Olga saying Alafair Burke rocks. She sure does.
She does.
Lisa and Alafair gave a keynote conversation at Thriller Fest. It was so fabulous. Catherine saying we always have the best, great authors on the show. Oh, Catherine, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to have so many amazing people. Julie wants to know where to go. Julie, to win the book. Julie, join the Mystery and Thriller Mavens group. I'm posting the link again right now. Right here it is, and just go to Mystery and Thriller Mavens, then you can enter to win there. Megan says she's so super excited for this book. Fabulous. Me too. And I want to say that speaking of Ruth Ware, who's also been on the show, Ruth had some fabulous praise here. She is, of course, the New York Times bestselling author of many books, but most recently One by One. And I want to pop her words of praise up for you. She called this book a deliciously tense ride. And she, oh, perfect. Thank you. Deborah, welcome to the conversation. She said she's so excited about this book. Megan saying she's watched every event about this book. Yes,
That's a lot.
Lisa always gives great
Thank
events.
you for doing that.
Yay, because Lisa always gives such interesting interviews. Y'all, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This book has earned starred reviews from everywhere, and is getting on so many recommended lists. It's just completely blowing up. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I did DNA testing. I did my my 23andMe, and it was eerily accurate. It knew that I was a night owl, and knew that I had, dark hair. It even knew that I preferred salt over sugar, which is so true. Like, I like pretzels better than candy. It was amazing. And so I was extra interested in the DNA testing part of this. That was so fascinating. As well as one of the characters is a yoga teacher. So as a yoga teacher, I love that. And you may not know this, but Lisa Unger is also a yoga doer. So very cool to see that that pop up as well. So speaking of Jilly, is it Jilly or Gilly McMillan?
It's Jilly.
Okay, Jilly.
Yeah.
She says that Lisa Unger is a brilliant writer at the top of her form. Here she delivers yet another stellar thriller packed with tension and twist, but also laced with nuanced insight and characterization. So one of the other things I really loved about this book, which I love about all of your books, is that you hone in on the fragility and frailty of all of marriages and of long-term relationships, because anyone who's ever been in a long-term relationship, and also families, sisters and brothers, in-laws and daughter, in-laws and the person, honing in on those with a very sensitive, deft hand, but going into those cracks and then chiseling away to reveal them deeper, and honing in on that on the insecurities or the old wounds or those things, is something that I think, like, you keep those pages turning. I actually stayed up until 3 a.m. every night until I finished it, and I checked all the doors and windows to make sure I was locked, because I was actually on vacation. I'm terrified. I was terrified someone was going to come in, because there's also a watcher in this book. I mean, there's a lot of scary stuff. But I think if I had to pick one thing that I love about Lisa Unger, it's going into that very sensitive, very tender place that's right here within all of us, in the most insightful, incisive way that brings to light all of those things and reveals to us the universality of how freaking hard relationships are and how fragile they are. And I love, and I so deeply respect how you do that, Lisa.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that, this is it's definitely a theme that runs through all of my books. It's not, like I said, it's not the technologies or even the secluded cabins or any of those things that interest me, although they are, big features of the books that I write. But it's really, character is king, and diving deep into what makes us who we are is a overriding theme of my entire body of work. Is it genetics? Is it biology? Is it psychology? Is it some twisting helix of all of those things, and, how do our relationships define us? Like, I think especially as the holidays approach, we are all kind of, we're all sold this image, right, of the family. Right, the image of what the family is or what the family should be. It's, it's the, the gathering around the table where everybody gets together and it's all, sort of love and happiness and support and joy and pass the potatoes. Right. It's like, how many family events have you been to that were actually like that? That weren't like, however many families do you know? Like, is there any family that you could say this family is perfect? There's no conflict. There's no secrets. There's no, subterranean truths. There are no, bodies, buried in the backyard. Right. I mean, like, how many of those families are there really? So it's like, I think it's just the most interesting thing is to just kind of, like, I always consider myself sort of a spelunker, like I kind of shimmy into the dark spaces of the human psyche, of the relationships that you have with the people that are closest to you, the people we trust, how much do we really know? And something like a DNA test, people start taking these DNA tests, and of course it's burgeoning. People are everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
it's increasing by the millions every year, the amount of people that take it. And, one of the things that I did learn from my research is that a lot of the time, many times you are going to find out something that you did not expect. And once you know it, you can't unknow it.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that, aspect of it. Not so much, like for myself personally, I did stop short of taking the DNA test. I've done a little bit too much research. I don't trust corporations to protect my privacy. I don't know how that information is going to be used in the future. And so, I'm careful about things like that, but it doesn't matter, because if my brother took the DNA test, or my cousin, or my mother, or my father, then somehow you're going to find yourself impacted by that in ways that you can't even imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I know Danny Shapiro, who's also a major yogi, and she wrote the book about the memoir about taking the DNA test and learning that the man that she had thought was her father for 48 years or 50 years of her life was in fact not her biological father, and then trying to find out who was her father. And I took the test, and I was hoping for a surprise. I was like, let me find out that I am Greek. Like I was ready. I was like, let me find out that I'm adopted. I was like, bring me a secret.
Incredibly exotic and mysterious.
I wanted to be very exotic and mysterious. I was like, let me be, I wanted to find a secret. Sadly, I was exactly what I'd always been told. So I was bummed. No secret for DiVello. I'm Italian.
Exactly. Just plain old Italian, right? I'm Italian Irish. I have,
snooze.
There's nothing.
Oh my God. Susan says she does not want to know about her DNA. There's probably a serial killer in her family or something. Well, Susan, you're going to be very interested in this book, as we all are. All right, y'all, we are way over time, but Lisa Unger is such a joy. We could just talk forever. Once again, be sure to pre-order your book, your signed copy of your book, you guys, from Murder by the Book. And you're going to the perfect gift and the perfect treat for yourself or others, and then enter to win a signed copy as well. Lisa Unger, congratulations. And on your 20th book, you are amazing. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sarah. And thanks to everybody for all the great questions and the fun chat. This has been a lovely, exciting, and fun interview. Of course, how could it be anything but with the wonderful Sara DiVello?
Oh my God, it's all due to you. All right, everybody, I'll be back at 4 with Katie Size, and then 5 with Erin E. Adams. Stay tuned.